any wedding, we shall do your pictures and videos. We shall have something we call Photomagic, whereby we give chance to your guests to scan a QR code, take a selfie, and register a WhatsApp number, whereby our AI will be able to auto-select the pictures where those people appear, and they get the pictures right on their phones. So when it comes to the lead time, this one we pass it on to our clients and their guests. It's more like a clientele guest experience. Yes. We happen to have one of the biggest studios in Uganda. Our studio can handle 10 clients at the same time. We happen to have staff that we work with, but we've trained over 51 students that we still call back to come and support us whenever we have work. You're spending $100 to see someone editing one picture, but the transformation you'll get after re-editing the same picture, going through his steps, I feel like I'm in the right place now. Back then, you used to get pictures, sit on a computer, sort pictures one by one. Now we have softwares like Photomagic, whereby you sit on your computer and it auto-selects for you the pictures, all the proper pictures, sets them aside, and then you still go through them using that AI tool to give you the final pictures. Technology has evolved. We now have what we call mirrorless cameras. Even if we go to a venue and it's extremely dark, our cameras can work in something they call low light conditions. In a low light condition, I will record you even if you're in the dark. At least it will come out as a monochrome effect. If there is some light and it's a bit minimal, the camera will provide the lighting. In case we are unable to get power for our lights and the video light, still the camera can work.
You said that at times you go to the venue because the client is claiming some numbers. When you say claiming, what do you mean by that?
Now, claiming, sometimes when you have a discussion with the client, you ask them, because with our packages, you can't do an event of 300 people with one photo camera and one video camera. You would literally give a lousy video to a client, which comes back to you as the photographer for not planning well. So when we are having a discussion with the client and we ask them, how many guests do you expect on your event? And they say between 100 and 150, of course, that's realistic. Someone can say maybe 400 or maybe 600. When you hear them flipping into those big numbers, they're like, okay, we shall come and look at the event. Because when you get to the event 3 days prior.
Thank you for coming on the show, Gilbert. We're very glad to have you. You come highly recommended, and I've actually seen some of your work on several social medias. So please introduce yourself for the viewers and tell us what you do.
Gilbert Atwiine is my name. I'm the founder of Twine Shots, a photography and videography company. We mainly do photography and videography, corporate and social events. Under corporate, we do conferences, we do workshops, we do seminars, we do trainings, and anything that involves a company that has over maybe say 50 staff or 8 staff and above, that is doing something that is meant to be kept on record. Then on the other side of social events, we do weddings, introductions as our core. Then besides that, we do kukyaalas, birthdays, baby showers, photo shoots, baby reveals, and all that, and any event that would require someone to keep a memory of photo and video. So mainly that is what is encompassed in what we do.
Have you always been in the photography field, or were you in some other field?
Okay, now from the other side, I happen to come from the background of accounting. At campus, I did Bachelor of Commerce, BCom, proceeded, I did my ACCA, then I did my Master's in Business Administration and majored in accounting. So I happen to come from the accounting career. I practiced for mainly 2 weeks and then ended up into something that I was so passionate about, which is photography and videography. And so this is not something I happen to be doing or something that I happen to have studied back at school. It's mainly business that I started out of passion.
How did you actually transition from accounting to photography? How did you decide? What was that moment?
Now, the moment of deciding was when I was employed. When I got into employment as a junior auditor. Our working times was between 8 and 5. But the workloads you have on your table couldn't let you leave at 5. Keep in office up to about 11 p.m. You get home. We have unrealistic deadlines. You get home, you have to proceed with work before you get realized it's coming to 2 a.m. You're back in, you're up by 6 because you have a deadline. Your supervisor is in your case. You're in office by 8. So 1 week into employment, I missed a moment to meet a client because I couldn't leave work. I scheduled the client to have a meeting in the afternoon or in the lunch break hours. So I lost the client. Now, when I lost the client, this is someone who was willing to commit. When I lost the client, I didn't lose him in a way of he waited and I couldn't show up. No, there is a friend's office where I used to meet my clients from. So I got to learn a few months later that this friend of mine, where I was meeting my clients from, is the one that actually did the wedding. So I had a conversation with him. He told me how the person came in. He was already frustrated by waiting for me and keeping, pushing him away to different time frames.
Sorry. I'm sorry for cutting you short. The client that you missed was not an accounting client.
No.
He was a side gig photography
photography client.
So, okay, I had it backwards. So, because you're working late hours in accounting, you cannot meet this side business that you like of photography, and you lost a client.
Exactly.
And found out that your friend had taken because, okay, go on. I get it.
So I used to meet my clients in his office, and I'd given the client the address to come and meet me in that office.
That's a risk.
Yes. So we had agreed to meet around lunch hours. So by the time I communicated about 1:30 midday, this client was already there. She said, no, it's okay. So she proceeded the conversation with
the friend of yours.
My friend, and he did the wedding. So, but when the person booked that friend of mine, he approached me and told me, your client came in, but because of the frustration, he said, I can take up the event because he could see the branding in my office. He was like, no, he's comfortable with me doing his wedding. So he gave him about 3.5 million. That was way back in 2017.
It's a lot of money.
At work, I was earning about 1.2 million net. So when I lost that client, it gave me I got so many deep thoughts how I'm missing money that I can earn this side in a space of 3 months. The 3 months salary, I lost it and yet I would make it in just a single day. So that's when I gave that, I think this work is not worth it. I loved accounting. I loved photography. But when I looked at the gist of the matter, I could still practice my accounting in my photography business. Why don't I re-strategize and focus on this where I can be the accountant in my own business? And that's how the story evolved after 2 weeks in employment. So I was unable to resign. I asked my supervisor, funny question, what would it mean if I just walked away and never turned back? Like, no, we've just gotten you in. You can't just go like that. Like, okay, I think I'm not coming back tomorrow. He couldn't give me, but the best way I could do it was I handed in all that he required. He still couldn't believe. When I exited, I had a 0702 number that was well known by so many people. I just had to crash that SIM card and start afresh. So that's how I made the decision to move from the career job to the passionate job.
And even then at that time, you did not have a client in the pipeline after this lady had gone? You did not have a new client, or you thought you could get clients?
And now I didn't have any clients at a moment, but I had several birthdays, photo shoots that normally used to happen over the weekend. So this was one of the first events clients had gotten. I would get maybe say one in a space of 3-4 months. So this was one of the few that I had lost.
Walk me through the process of actually setting up Twine Shots. First of all, from your friend, the way that I understand it, he did not actually go behind your back to steal your client. Okay, It was more like an understanding.
An understanding.
Okay, So from that point, how do you set up the business to start running it?
Now, at that time, I had a friend that was called Bash Mutumba. So I used to take pictures, just like any random pictures. Then Bash told me that I can help you design a logo. Now, this was way before losing the class. I started Twine Shots when I was still at campus.
Okay.
And this is how the journey was initiated.
Okay.
So we leave campus, get into an internship. I was doing my internship at Ministry of Finance and Economic Development as a master data accountant. So that's why I did my intern. So Bash Mutumba was doing his internship at Galaxy FM. I love to go to the studio just to have pictures of myself taken. I used to have, we used to call them wallet pictures. Like every after 3 months, after 1 month, I go to the studio, take pictures. Update the wallet. Update the wallet. So I have an album where I used to put those wallet pictures. So way back from school, I authored a book called An Anthology for Success. In 2016, a book that I'd written for 2 years, 15 and 16, authored it in December 2016. It was a process of writing and writing and writing. So the only moment that I missed through the entire writing was the pictures moment. So when I came to campus, like, okay, I think I now need to document more of my life with pictures.
True.
So I used to go to the studio, take pictures. Even when you're home for holidays, I used to take so many pictures. I was mainly a person of pictures. I take store. Sometimes I sit and look and I was like, okay, it's been a journey. So when Bash Mutumba gets internship at Galaxy FM, he used to take pictures. They gave him a camera. He was one of the people that were taking pictures for Galaxy. And now I picked interest in calling him to come and take my pictures. Like, no, the camera I have is for the station and all that. So fast forward, internship gets done, and I come out with the camera. So the story in there now is so that I may never want to go out. But you know how you go for internship, these people want to appreciate you. They're saying, okay, at least we can appreciate since we don't pay. Come and we show you things that we are meant to dispose of. You can just pick an item. And then I saw a camera. Now, when I saw the camera, finally, remember it is internship. I'm seeing someone who was using a camera who doesn't want to take my pictures because it's for the station. I picked the camera. So after internship, I got a Canon 6D. Now, when I got that camera, I realized that you can't take a picture when you don't have a lens.
True.
It was just a camera body. So I was on government sponsorship. Back in high school in 2015, I happened to be the best student from Wakiso district. I scored maximum points. And I went on government sponsorship to Makere, BCom. So during that semester, when the living out allowance came, they used to pay us about 730,000. I netted off some of that money and bought a lens. So that is how the journey began. We go to class, I come with my camera in the bag. After class, I call my friends, we take pictures at campus. I didn't even know how to edit any single picture. Put on the computer, I give them. So at hostel, I had a friend who was called Carol. She was doing industrial fine art. So Carol, while at campus, they had taught them how to play with Adobe softwares. So I used to give her pictures. She puts them in Photoshop. She crops them, reduces the size, and gives them to me back. Then I used to be an anxious person. Like I always wanted to learn. So I had a friend at campus who was called Bwanka Cosmas, and the dad used to do shopping in Dubai. So I asked the dad if he could help me get me a laptop from Dubai. And I was like, it's okay. So I had saved some money, about 800,000 that I gave him to help me get me a laptop. He got me a laptop of about 1.2 million. It was an HP Pavilion that we used to rotate 360. And he said, it's okay, the balance, you can pay it at your convenience. So I had a very good laptop now, and I didn't find the sense of coming back to Carol to help me to do the edits and all that. So at campus, we had free internet in the library. All you did is move with an Ethernet cable, plug in, go to YouTube, do whatever you wanted to do. But prior to that, I started with Instagram, looking out for different Ugandan photographers. The biggest challenge I got was the unwillingness for them to teach me.
Yes.
Everyone would say, you make like come with 500K, I'll teach you. Come with 300K, I'll teach you. But back then, of course, I mean, the living allowance is done, which I think I should have given them at the moment. At this point, it's done. I'm now depending on the upkeep from the parents, whereby they send you like 20,000 per week. They know meals are fully catered for by the government. So I was just left in thin air. The only option I had was go to campus, do my 2 hours in class, because you study 2 hours a day, either 2 or 4 hours a day. So we had a lot of time at our disposal. So I would go to the library, plug into the Ethernet cables, go to YouTube, make research on how to edit the pictures. I learned a few basics until Bash Mutumba returned. I think he returned when the semester had moved, maybe say like a month, because even after internship, I think they had both the idea of retaining him. He was a very good influencer on Twitter. So we were in a computer lab in a computerized accounting lesson. Then I asked him, how best can I handle my peers? Like, what you need to do? You need to first come up with a logo. And he said, I can first do for you the logo, then we kickstart it.
He's the one who made this one?
No, not this one.
Oh, okay.
So he made me a watermark. It was more of like a watermark for Twine Shots. Now that's where the happiness started. Taking a picture and placing that watermark and seeing a watermark of Twine Shots. But coming up with Twine Shots, it was also a very big conversation. Because like, okay, I think Twine is actually I wanted him to give me something like G Shots, like Gilbert Shots, something like to keep it in that line. When we went to Instagram, G Shots was a handle that was being held by a Nigerian photographer. For that we made research. G Shots, GEE was also another handle that was already existing. I was like, you know what? Let's keep it botanical and local. Like, can we do like a Twine Shot? Like, no, a Twine Shot may not work. Then I was like, but at home, they call me Twine. At home, they call me Twine. Like, oh, then we can do Twine, like Twine photography, Twine pixels, Twine Shots. Like, Twine Shots is a bit catchy, since it's slightly short and wide. And that's how we picked up the Twine Shots. He designed for me my first logo, that was Bash Mutumba. He showed me how to process pictures from RAW to JPEG. For me, he had his principle, I shoot RAW. But I was not yet on the level of RAW. So with that start, that is how the journey started. I had a watermark, I had a camera, I could take pictures, and I had a laptop. So a friend of mine called Atwiine Ivan in the same class, like 3 days later when they started to see pictures with that watermark. Like, I have a birthday at University Inn. Can you come and take pictures? I was like, it's okay. Like, give me 20K, I buy batteries, but of course the camera I used rechargeable batteries.
Right.
I wanted to see if you could give me the camera.
If you could pay, yes.
Like, it's okay. Have the money. Okay. I used the transport of 2,000, 1K to 1K back. I did the pictures. I did normal editing, put the watermark. I shared in the birthday. We used to have those birthday groups. Like, someone is celebrating a birthday, they open up a WhatsApp group. I shared the pictures. Now, when I shared the pictures of that birthday, at campus, the only thing that used to get us together was birthdays. I became a birthday photographer. Friends started contacting me. I have a birthday. 20K became 50K. 50K became 70K. 70K became 80K. Now, at the point of 80,000, I bought a wooden savings box. So any amount beyond 50,000, I would put the 50, retain the 30. Now, when the work became too much, like Monday to Friday, every evening, I'm having a birthday. Yet I was also doing ACC at the time. Let me just increase my price so that I can cut off most of the students.
Yes.
I pushed it to 150,000. Still, the traffic was still there. I was like, okay, now what do I do? I said, but don't you have Ugandan photographers that I can refer? I tried reaching out to them, but I would come in a sense of, I have a birthday, I would want you to come and take pictures. I can help you take the pictures. My aim was to learn how those external people do the birthdays, but getting them on board was the biggest challenge. If I'm not available, I'm not available.
Yes.
If I'm available, I can take it up. So I did a few more birthdays up to the end of that semester. So on the last day when I had my exam, I broke my savings box and I found about 780,000. Like, okay, this is money I'd never held like as a lump sum. Most money that used to come in was living out allowance, of which it would come on the bank account. And it's already planned for. You have to go out with your friends, so you will never feel the impact of having that much money at a time. So when I got that money, by then there was a website called Maskini. Maskini was, I think it's still existent. You order a good, you go online, order a product, then they deliver maybe say like after 3 months, 2 months. So I broke that savings box when we were getting into the December holidays. I went to Maskini, placed an order of a speed light and a softbox. A speed light is that flash. Now, when I went home for holidays, the products arrived around January when I was still home, and my parents had no idea of what I was doing. So they called me that your items have arrived. And I was so anxious, but I'm in Uganda, the products are in Kampala. I told the guys, I called one of my friends to go and pick them for me and send them to Uganda. So when they said, friends are like, oh, where did you buy these things from? We have a kitchenware business at home. And of course, whatever would come in their mind is, did you steal money from here to buy this? Like, no, these things are not mine. They're for my friend, but I'm keeping them for him. What do they do? Like, I have no idea. Just to cover up. Since the camera was still at campus, I never used to come with it home. So, coming back for the second semester in January, those graduations, that is how the photography now kicked up officially. And that is how I started business officially. I take pictures, do the small edits I could do, put my watermark, deliver. And that's how I officially started in 2018.
Wow. 7 years.
7 years.
When you look from the 7-year period back up till today, how has the industry of photography in Uganda changed, or what trends are you seeing generally?
Now, there are so many trends that we've so far seen. You know, back then people used to record videos on tapes.
Yes.
Trends are now on to recording videos on memory cards.
Yes.
Whereby some other people use external solid-state drives that are attached to the cameras, and that's why they do the recording. A lot has changed. Besides that, even the cameras that we now use, back then they used to use those cameras, they used to call vidomora, those big Sony cameras. In our time, when we started, there are those full-frame DSLR cameras that were being used. And as of now, we are using mirrorless cameras where you don't need a lot of effort when it comes to light performance because they have high ISO performance. So you literally working under low light conditions and you're achieving a very high picture quality. Artificial intelligence is now in place. Back then you used to get pictures, sit on a computer, sort pictures one by one. Now we have features, softwares like Photomagic, whereby you sit on your computer and it auto-selects for you the pictures, all the proper pictures, sets them aside, and then you still go through them using that AI tool to give you the final pictures. We used to have videos on hard disks. You do like 3 events and the hard disk is full because of the camera coding. You shoot one video and it comes out when it's 64 GB. We've now had so many softwares, AI, like now as we use a software called Handbrake. It's called Handbrake. It squeezes a 20 GB video to 1 GB minus losing the quality.
Wow. So
lots of things have evolved. Besides that, even photo editing. How you used to get into Photoshop, edit a picture from scratch and all that. But now, we have AI. You insert a picture. We have AI like Photolumina. We have Evoto where you put a picture, sit, and it makes a decision. Then you guide it from where it has stopped, basing on your human understanding of whether the lighting is enough, whether the skin retouch is enough. So a lot has evolved, but a lot that has evolved is what is increasing our efficiency in the photography business. Besides it being AI, it requires the professional side of you can make a very good decision in regards to a picture, if it's meant to be liked by a client, or if it's not meant to be liked by the client. Then besides that, besides the equipment and the industry bit, even the clients themselves, we now tend to have well-filtered clients. Clients come when they know what they want. They have researched. They say, we want to do a wedding, it's a destination wedding. We want you to come with this, or we don't know if you have this specific kind of equipment, or we don't know if you can give us this quality of photo book or this kind of work. So the clients have been filtered in regards to what they ask for and also in regards to what they pay. Back then, you could get a client and getting 100,000 out of them would be a hassle. But now a client will give you 500,000 on a single day, and they're even willing to tip you because they are well filtered, they value what you're doing, and they value the moments that you're going to create for them. So those are some of the things that have evolved in the industry.
What about when it comes to, previously you mentioned that when you would go to other photographers and ask them for assistance, they would not want to help. How is that now?
Now, from the personal experience, I had a group of several photographers besides us being in WhatsApp groups and all that. For the few clients that we've served, when they look at the quality of our service and the way we do our work might be slightly different from how the other photographers handle their work. Why? I think it all roots from the training. Photographers, one, they are not willing to train. Two, whichever people they will be working with, when they would get to learn their skill on how they edit pictures, they run out and start their own companies. And that is why most of them were hesitant to train, because you train someone, they run away. But Uganda is we have the photography industry in Uganda is fast growing. We have so many clients, but people to serve ideally there are few. Reason why some of us are into BNI so that we can be able to give away some of our good clients to people that we trust, people that we like, and people that we believe that will be able to deliver as expected. So back then, the photographers would ask someone to show you how maybe they have retouched their image. Like, the way I retouch is a bit different, but I'll create time and show you. Of course,
they will disappear.
They will disappear. So when I got into photography, I decided to train. Because I believe that when you train, one, you're impacting on someone's life.
True.
You're getting into the soul of that particular person that you've trained.
True.
So at any point, they'll be like, okay, train me. And that's how I proud myself to have one of the biggest photography teams. Because at any point in time when we have work, besides the people that we have on a full-time basis, the 5 staff, we have so many boys that we've trained that you call and they'll be able to show up at any particular day, ready to serve you, regardless of what. Now, because that was a very big issue, I resolved it by deciding to train. Personally, the training I got, I went to a school called Fine Graphics. It was on Nasa Road. That is why I got the basic training of how to use the Adobe softwares. Meaning how to use the Adobe softwares. Then did a few photographers. You would pay like the 300,000. You go there day 1. Day 2, you feel like besides them training you, there is a lot much more that you're hiding, which you feel like you deserve to see. I didn't find it. I didn't find the worth. So I referred a lot to Instagram. We had photographers like a photographer called Encourage Photography, Rim Photography. So many of them from Nigeria and the US. They used to set up online trainings. They have a WhatsApp group. They set up an online training. You could enroll like for $100 for maybe say 1 hour, but they're mainly teaching you how they retouch their picture. And then it's up to you to decide, is this something I really feel like I will learn or not? He would open his picture on his computer. He shows you how he's doing it. He shows you the actions that he's using. And then he says, have the picture, edit, and send back. You're spending $100 to see someone editing one picture, but the transformation you'd get after re-editing the same picture, going through his steps, I feel like I'm in the right place now. Of course, whatever training they rendered, now with the introduction of AI, it has all been summarized in AI. It has all been summarized in the newer versions of Photoshop that we are using, whereby these new versions, they make things easier and faster. Another trend now on the side of the clients, we have several positive and the negative trends. So when it comes to the positive trends on the sides of clients, clients also do a lot of research. They do a lot of research, and they come when they're also specific to a given item. So clients have evolved, but the way we communicate, or the way the clients communicate to us, could be seen as a challenge, or it could also be seen as a weakness in us. By the time someone initiates a conversation with you, I don't feel like this is the right person who can do my wedding. This is now from the perspective of the client. We've seen better clients that will sit and even start advising your business. A client will walk to you, you have a conversation with them, and they'll tell you, no, I feel like you're taking up the entire space. You don't give me a chance to speak. You want to take up the entire time trying to explain what you do. Yes, I know what you do, but I'm also specific to mainly what I want.
True.
So we've had such aggressive clients. Now, on the other side, on the negative bit, clients are also specific. They could come and say, maybe I have a destination wedding, and they are requesting to go with 2 people, and they're specific. This person can do the video, this person can do the photo. And they're specific still, come with this kind of camera because they believe it's light. It will do both photo and video, or it can multitask basing on what they could need. But, I mean, as photographers, it comes to us as a challenge. When someone comes to give you a booking, maybe say for their wedding, of course, they are booking for a package that could need maybe say 8 staff, and they are meeting you as an individual, So this could be now a spotlight on the client side. While you're meeting the photographer, did you meet them in the premises that could be deemed necessary to value what much you're paying this person, or it's just a pre-assumed assumption that this is your friend, he will deliver? You get to agree at a figure, maybe say they are doing a wedding at 2 million. They're saying it will come maybe 6 people. They'll carry this kind of equipment. As a client, you may not have a checklist, but of course, the biggest challenge we have in the industry is outsourcing equipment. You get to outsource equipment. You may not have booked the day reaches. Equipment is nowhere to be seen, which turns out to be a disappointment on the client. And of course, the root cause was the client did put in the effort to come and visit the person they are booking for their event, since they assume that, okay, this is online, this is a good photographer, his pictures are good. So it could be an evolving thing that could maybe throw a spotlight to the client's face that whenever you're looking out for a photographer, the world has evolved. Anyone can place themselves to be a photographer or a videographer or a photography company, but in actual sense, they are there to, of course, with our business, it's all about bookings. They're there to receive the first booking and maybe disappear in thin air, or to receive the first booking, make you overpay for the service. On that day, you literally see people standing without equipment or with cameras that could have no batteries. We have several challenges that we face in the industry as us. One being equipment. Equipment is high capital intensive.
Yes.
That is for the good cameras that would create good pictures and good videos. So by the time someone forgoes part of the money that you're giving them to go and book equipment, it might become a very big challenge because they believe you didn't get to visit them. You didn't get to see where they work from. So you could assume that maybe these people had equipment. And that's why it could come as a weakness for them to go and book any lousy equipment to come and set up at your event. So trends are so many, they are still evolving, and new things come up, and new scenarios come up as we work. You could do a wedding, like recently we did a wedding where someone had come to book us for screens days of the event and told them our screens were fully booked out. So we get to the wedding day. It was actually an introduction in Michena. She had booked some other person who came with her screens, but this person told the client that I'll do the live feed. But the person came expecting to pick the live feed from our cameras. We use mirrorless cameras. Mirrorless cameras use HDMI cables that are close to Type-C. Gentleman approaches us. We are like, no, we've not been contacted for live feed. Sorry, for live feed. We are mainly doing photography and video for the wedding. Goes and reports the client, and you people are not giving me the cameras. Of course, the client didn't know
the technical part.
Like, no, you booked us for photography and videography. This is something you didn't book us for. The client got frustrated. So take off the frustration, like, but it's okay. I mean, we have the cameras on set. Give us the cables, we shall give you people. Client was happy and back in the mood. She tells the gentleman, it's okay, I've talked to them, give them the cables, they will give you the footage. We had mirrorless cameras, they had the ancient HDMI cables. They brought the cables, but still we couldn't serve them because we had come with equipment that was a bit different and equipment that couldn't match the screens that they had at the event, which turned out to be a very big challenge on the side of the client, which I still take back, the client not understanding the terms of service of those people.
So basically what I'm hearing is that on top of just ordering the service, on top of just meeting you and talking to you, Gilbert, the client should also come and physically see your premises, the equipment, etc. And for full disclosure, for our guests, our viewers who are watching, today's shoot is you actually shooting. The cameras, the lights, everything that we're using is for you. Because for me also, when we're doing this show for you, we want to make sure that we are actually using your own equipment and see how it turns out and all this. So if the viewers like what they are seeing, 100% your own. And it is not funded, it is 100% free, so that should be clear. Talk about your office, the kind of stuff you have, the equipment, the ranges, so to give an idea.
Now, to give an idea, we happen to have one of the biggest studios in Uganda. Our studio is in Makerere Chikoni, alongside Makerere Kasuri Road. The building is called Elements Courts. So our studio can handle, I should say, 10 clients at the same time. If we are taking pictures on the because we have different backgrounds and different setups. So several photographers can take pictures at the same time. We happen to have 5 staff that we work with, but we've trained over 51 students. Now, it is those students that we still call back to come and support us whenever we have work. Because when you have a wedding, you don't want to be on camera and still run away to go and look for a battery to change to the camera. So it's those people that we have trained that have turned out to be so instrumental. So officially, we have 5 staff that we do work with. We are legally registered as Twine Shots. We make submissions to NSSF. We also pay as per what we make in the studio. Whenever we need assistance from the staff, like in case we need assistance to make work more efficient, it's on the people that we've trained, people that we've given training. We've trained over 51. So we normally call on them just to come and support us whenever we have work.
On call, basically
on call. But with our studio, we have a very big studio. We have several computers. A reason for that several computers and machinery is, with video, by the time one computer is exporting a video, you can't want to keep using it. You want to set it aside and let it export, work on a different platform. So the reason why we located ourselves in Makerere, want to support the interns so much. People that are so passionate about photography. When someone approaches us and they are so passionate about photography and they want someone they can do the internship from, we normally take in between 3 to 4 interns in a period of 2 months. Every 2 months, we bring in new interns. 2 months, we bring in new interns.
Do you charge them?
Interns, we don't charge them.
Okay.
Interns, we don't charge them. It is people that are training fully that we charge.
The ones who want to learn the skill,
yes, the
who
skill.
have come and said, teach me how to do this.
But still, the fee that we charge them, it's not like a profit-making venture. No. The fee that we charge is mainly to cater for the utilities, that is electricity for the time they're in the studio, to cater for the internet they use in the studio, and to cater for about 5 uniforms that we give them when they are part of us. When we do 1 month and we don't feel like they can match our specifics, after that training period, we set them aside. But most of them we've trained and we are happy to have retained.
I like that.
We have a group, we have about 13 females and the rest being males. And we're still looking so much into training as many females as we can, because they proud us a lot when we're in the field.
True.
And we're working with them. They normally support us on that light work. You can leave them on camera, go stretch the cables, look for better lighting and all that.
So we have many photographers in Uganda, very many. I know several, there are many. But what actually makes Twine Shots separate or special among all these photographers? Why should the viewer be concerned about Twine Shots or want to use you?
And when it comes to positioning, I could say we are among the top 3 photography companies in Uganda, basing on how we onboard the clients and basing on how we retain the retention rate of our clientele. And one thing that makes us different or unique is the lead times. We have very short lead times. Most of our clients can hold us, they can be our witnesses, I should say, or people that we've done pictures with at events. When it comes to the lead time, the time we take between taking the pictures and delivery. That is one thing we have focused on so much. I can say maybe for a wedding, for any wedding, we shall do your pictures and videos. We shall have something we call Photomagic, whereby we give chance to your guests to scan a QR code, take a selfie, and register a WhatsApp number, whereby our AI will be able to auto-select the pictures where those people appear, and they get the pictures right on their phones. So when it comes to the lead time, this one we pass it on to our clients and their guests. It's more like a clientele guest experience.
Yes.
We shall do your pictures on a Saturday for our wedding. We do our editing on Sunday. Monday morning, all the guests will have their pictures.
Using that same WhatsApp number that they registered, they will get them on their phone.
For you after registration, after registration and inputting the WhatsApp number, they just sit back and relax. We partnered with a company called Photomagic. It's in Uganda. So it supports us on that. So after registration, Saturday, you sit back and relax. Monday morning, you're in office seated. You see pictures coming directly to your WhatsApp. Pictures where your face appears, they come straight to your WhatsApp. Then it also gives you another link to access the public album in case you want to look at all the other pictures from the rest. So when it comes to the lead time, when it comes to the event side, we have achieved so much on that, mostly with the corporate clients. Corporate clients want to see pictures coming out on the same day.
Right.
You take pictures, upload and dispatch. Take pictures, upload and dispatch. Guests are seated in the room and they keep receiving their pictures on WhatsApp. Right away. Then same thing comes back to the delivery of the photo books and the boards. Still, we on record that in a space of 5 days, someone will have received their packages. Studio clients, they come and take pictures on maybe on a Monday morning. By Monday afternoon, their pictures are ready and they're receiving them. So when it comes to the lead times, they're as short as possible, because we are in studio and all the 5 staff are too supportive. Anyone can handle a client. Take the pictures, do the post-production, deliver right away. Then at 2, we have timely arrivals. On any event, if you tell us your event starts at 7, we shall be there by 6. Why? Because we have vans that facilitate our transport. Our building has good security and good parking. Before we leave the previous day, we get all our equipment and park it in the car. Because the security is there, the place is monitored by the CCTV cameras. So in the morning, we just come when we're setting off. And we don't outsource any of the equipment. We have all the equipment in-house. So it helps us to beat the timely arrivals at events. On any kind of event, we always stay on time. Then 3, I believe we have better client engagement as compared to other photographers. The speed at which we can onboard a client, I find it different with other photographers. Someone will be like, okay, I've seen you, let me go talk to my fiancé, I'll come back and we discuss. With our clients, you get into our office, we give you something to drink just to freshen up.
Right.
We give you the photo books you look through. By the time we initiate the conversation with you, we've sold you out. Like we've already sold the package.
Right.
So our clientele engagement is a bit faster, and we onboard clients at a very, 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 very fast rate. Then 4, with the staff meetings that we have and staff engagements, to facilitate and to be able to support more of the people that we are training for interns, the interns that we train, we normally focus on having weekly meetings whereby we have to review our company mission, our company goals, and our company objectives. So in that process, every person that we've trained, every person that we've onboarded and they have gone and started up their own companies, we tend to see them doing so well. Why? Because of the engagement and the weekly meetings that we normally hold in office, they tend to give back to them. And in return, they've become, I should say, better photographers.
True.
Then finally, other thing that sets us apart is the urge and our involvement in the different social groups within Kampala. Can give an example of BNI. Has been so instrumental in regards to sending us clients and keeping us engaged all the time so that we have something to do. Then spaces like Rotary, then spaces from my old schools. I went to Chitabi Seminary, and we have that old group, the Chisoba group, whereby they meet on weekends for football, get-togethers. Have the Smaskosa group. I went to St. Mary's Chinede for my A-level. Being involved in those groups and being able to support the small returns that we get, we go support the team, support our classes. It has also made us different by allowing our OBs and our friends to be able to refer us with a lot of confidence.
This software that you talked about, it intrigued me actually. Is this unique to you? I mean, you said the company you use is a Ugandan company. Is it unique to you, or do others have it as well? What would you say?
Now, what happened, I had a gentleman that reached out to me, he's called Uthman and the partner. They told me, they came and explained to me what their software does. It's called Photomagic. And they sell the software. They give us what they call codes to redeem. So on any event, you give them money, they give you a redemption code. To redeem the code, that's when you get the QR code that you pass on to your clients. So it's a Ugandan-based software that was designed by these gentlemen. So they come and log you up, and it's something I would highly recommend to all the photographers. I recommend it to all the photographers. Photomagic, they get to sign you up. After signing you up, in case you have an event, you make the payment, they give you a redemption code. So days to the event, you share the QR code and the link
with the client,
which they put in their WhatsApp groups.
Right.
So when the client gives their guests and friends, or even now with the corporates, we normally display it at the event.
Right.
And the MC tells the people, pull out your smartphones, scan the QR code. Are we there? We are there. Input your phone number, take a selfie, registration complete. By the time the event ends, people keep receiving their pictures in real time. Wow. People don't have to follow up and can't say, how come I didn't see a picture? I didn't see a
when
picture.
Will you send them?
When will you send them? So with most corporate events, they keep receiving pictures as the event goes on, which normally pushes people to come and take more pictures.
Yes. What kind of feedback do you get from clients after they have used this?
The main...
And sorry, are you selling? Of course, you're selling to the client. You're selling it as a service that you offer.
Yes.
Okay. So, what do they say about Twine Shots once they have used this service?
That service in the last year, we got several clients that came because of that particular service. I had a client called Lydia. Lydia came and said, we were at a conference at Africana. We received the pictures when we were at the conference. I have my wedding upcoming, and I want that same service for my guests. We had another one recently called Gerald. Gerard Wells Belinda. We did his wedding, and he was specific. He came in the point of, I need that AI where my guests will be able to receive their pictures. So, basing on the client feedback I get, by the time you get clients coming specifically because of that, that means that it's something that is working for them, something that they would want or something that they would desire to have on their events.
Maybe we should have those Photomagic people on the show as well.
Probably.
On the show as well. Okay, that's nice. I like that. I did see that you have worked with some big corporate companies. There was DHL. We saw Bragg, Victoria Schools. Now, break down, first of all, how you were able to position yourself to be able to get these contracts and what kind of work did you do or do you do for them?
To start with, I can start with Victoria Schools. Victoria Schools, the director happens to subscribe to one of the BNI chapters, which is Sunrise, that is Dr. Barbara Ofono. I went and had a meeting with them. I told them how I'd be interested in doing the pictures for the schools. She has about 6 branches. So I offered them a pro bono service on one of their swearing-in ceremonies. I went, did for them 3 pictures, did for them 3 videos, just to get feedback from them and how efficient the service was. So when I sent in my pictures, they said, it's okay. We have someone already signed up who does our pictures, but come and work alongside that person.
They want to compare?
No. They loved my output as compared to that person's output. They gave me feedback, and they always give feedback up to now. We always arrive on time. We do the pictures for all their campuses, regardless of what much they pay or what small amounts they pay. But we've able to retain them by being there on time, doing their work effectively, and being able to deliver the pictures. And in return, of course, the pictures get to reach the parents. Because we send them in terms of links and they are shared back to the parents. So probably the parents bought the idea, and every activity in school, they must have a photographer and a videographer.
I'm thinking also, I don't know if you do this, you can correct me. I'm thinking if they have a visitation and you have these QR codes all over the school compound and it says parent, we are taking pictures of you here visiting your kids. If you want your pictures of today, scan, do this. So parents are seated having eats or whatever with their kids, and their pictures are coming. Do you do?
That's something, but
it will excite.
That's a very good idea.
It would excite the parents for sure. Especially
even the school will be like, okay, our parents are getting their pictures.
Yes. And I think this is something, if you're not already doing, I think you can do, and it will lock you in even much better.
True.
You know?
Okay.
That being said, you were still going on. Carry on.
Then besides that, how I got onboarded to DHL Supplies, it was through one of my clients that I did a wedding for, who was called Mark. Mark contacted me and said that we have some work here. I don't know if you have the right documentation. Like, yes, we have registered. Like, okay, come on board, let's have a discussion. I went, we had a discussion, they went through my documents, and they approved me as their supplier. So for DHL Supplies, we do their advert videos, which some could also pass around. We do their advert videos, we do their safety videos, mainly for the supplies side that is in Rosera. Then you talked about Bragg. Bragg was also through a process of getting the tax clearance form that we got from URA that cleared us. We sent in our documentation. We went through the bidding process, and we did for them work still. So most of them, it has, you know how they say that when you're compliant, you get to benefit more.
Yes.
And with most of those clients, of course, they have elements of withholding tax. So you must be as straightforward as possible, because whatever much they are paying you, they withhold a fee that which actually also helps you in return. At the end of the year, in case of having to, we just file, but we don't make the actual payments because we have money that was withheld from all those clients that keeps offsetting for us those liabilities. So by being compliant, it has been able to get us some of those clients, and we are still in the fight to onboard as many clients as possible.
For someone who is a youth, a millennial maybe, wants to start a photography business, or wants to make money online using pictures or some form of picture service, what would you advise them to do?
Now, the advice, I'd want to give the good and the bad because I've experienced a lot since I do trainings. I train some of them. I have some of them as interns.
Yes.
Let me start with the bad when it comes to people that we train and people that we charge a fee for training. Along the way, people that come for training and they've been supported by their brothers, their parents, they never turn out to be good trainees. 3 weeks down the road, they don't progress. You find their interest is solo because they're now looking more on the money, of which the money is also non-existent. They look more on the money than the skill. They're interested in you giving them a job and giving them their commission 50,000 and that's it with time. When you look at the people that come with this in mind, that I'm so passionate about photography, something I tried to do, but I didn't have a good ground or a good space for someone who was meant to train me, please, would you give me a chance? These have turned out to be the best photographers that we have. They come dedicated to learn. We have internet in office. With that internet, at any point in time, you find them on YouTube doing reviews and all that. And they have turned out to be the best photographers. However, on the other side, just like any other business, we have something we call patience. When people come and we train them, most of them come when they're my age mates. Of course, when some of them are even older than me, they feel like, okay, in 3 months I will have learned. In 6 months, I can start up my own studio. I can start onboarding clients. But you know what starting means. It comes in with a lot. You have to have a TIN number. You must have a trading license. You must be legally registered. And of course, once you get registered, you must be committed to do the returns every month. Previously, NSSF used to have a law whereby you start making remitting savings when you have more than 2 staff, 5 staff, I don't know. But now, even if it's just 1 staff, you must remit. So people are not patient. They just start up the business. Open, register legally before you get to know. You've skipped 3 months minus paying taxes, minus making returns. URA has overly assessed. They are being hunted down. But these that come passionate, willing to learn and become better, and maybe wait for us to get openings and employ them, or start their own companies when they have at least onboarded clients. So we have several of them that have made it, that are doing so well. So my advice is, besides having it as passion, the world is evolving at a very fast rate. They say that the more you know, the more you become relevant. When you make research and give something that is a bit different, like me, I get most of my clients from TikTok, I should say. When people see me, how I cover conferences, how I cover those pitches of people speaking, they're interested in having us as service providers. So by being ahead of the game, being able to research and getting something that is unique specifically to you, it should be the starting point of you thinking about going independent. Because by that time, you will have taken a lot of time in the process to build up that. From our kind of work, you have gotten some clients from Twine Shots that will like you, that will trust you, and that will want to have you on their events. We have clients who come and say, specifically, on my wedding, I want to have Onesimus. I'm thinking Onesimus. Onesimus was good to us. Maybe we found him at an event. He was outgoing. He would come to you. He tells you that I'm going to take a picture of you, which will appear in the album of the bride and groom. And you say to yourself, you took a picture. Some people are specific, okay, can I have your number? People are specific to that point in time. So by the time you become patient with the people, communicate with the clients, of course, people want to reach out to you first, even when they want work done. So it takes patience. Even after you've learned, the advice is that you need to be patient, move through the stages, make research on how most photographers do it, how they onboard clients, how they communicate with the clients, so that by the time you start, at least you have like 10 clients on board, people that always comment on the pictures that you post. At least you already have a photography page that you have been posting work on when you're working for another person. At least you have a good brand name that you're well attached to, someone that can highly recommend you. You know how we go to ask for jobs and they ask you for references. Same thing in the photography industry that most photographers ignore. As when we are bidding for work, they'll ask you, can we have a record of some projects that you've done before? Of course, it is those records that normally help us pass. So if these people passionate about photography can look at photography in such kind of regard that if I worked with Twine Shots for a period of 3 years, did I go away in a good way or in a bad way? Can Twine Shots recommend me or say, that wasn't a good person?
I can understand if someone comes and they don't seem committed, they want fast money. I can see that because, it is a challenge. You need to raise money quickly, right? I also see your point about patience, develop the skill and all that, right? But if we're to bring it in the middle, to have a balance, someone who is coming for training, fine, they want to learn, but they want to learn the most critical skill or 2 skills that they can put in the market and get money the fastest. Kind of like a filtered thing, right? Is it editing the picture? Is it taking a shot? What is it that you would recommend for a youth? If they are short on time, they are short on patience, they are definitely short on money, what skill or 2 skills can they focus on to bring them closest to money fastest?
Now, when it comes to training, let me first take back the training bit. Of course, we tell them we shall train in photography and videography, just as an overview. But our aim is that when you get in, want to see why you have so much interest. And you can literally see what someone is rushing into.
Right.
You get to the studio, give them the camera, they take pictures. Are they interested in editing or they're interested in more using the camera? Because you can't love the two at the same time. Find someone, when they are getting on board, they love to be with the camera. With time, and when they're interested in the camera, they're going to be on the computer. They edit one picture, you find them on YouTube. At the end of the day, you realize that this person is not interested in anything, but they want to learn. Now, just like how they say good things take time, they take time. The quickest way that person can make money, you've heard about what they call paparazzi. How you find people at events taking pictures of each and every person, run to town, print. The easiest way that person you're training can make money right away. Come in, buy a camera, we teach you the camera settings. Every Saturday, get your bag run at events, take pictures, go and print. Because with that, it doesn't involve having to sit back and edit. We may show you the major camera settings, how to set up the camera, and how to take a good picture, go to church, take pictures, go edit, give away. The other second fastest way one can do is that our studios are fast growing in Kampala. And clients are also fast growing when it comes to studios. Get a studio. Position it maybe at a point where there is a church. Most people go to prayer as family on Sundays. From church, they want to go to the studio and take pictures as a family. That is also one other quickest way. The other way, of course, quickest is social media. Look out for a specific niche because photography is so broad. We have sports photography, wildlife photography, events photography, real estate photography, food photography. Look at all of them. Get your specific niche. Do the thing. Start sponsoring online and let people see what you're doing. There you can get good filtered clients. So, mainly.
So you would say, in terms of your business, Twine Shots, when it comes to your marketing and how you're getting clients, you mentioned word of mouth is a lot. You talked about referrals. Most of these clients that you have are referrals. You talked about social media on TikTok. Do you have any other method that you're using? And then you also talked about the service itself, the thing that brings the pictures immediately. I like that one. Do you have anything else that is there that you use? Or
When it comes to marketing, there are mainly three components. One, it is the equipment. Your equipment will market you. And for that, we have the equipment that we use to handle all the events. Two, it is the AI besides that also the technology that we explain to the clients how it works and how it will support us, make sure that we give them a good experience. Now, the other aspect of our marketing is the guest experience. We give guests an experience whereby they will highly refer us even to the next meetings that they will attend by saying, I met these guys on this and this event, please. I feel like they will do very good work. Maybe an example I can give there is we had an introduction in Palisa. You know how you get into the audience. At any point in time, the client wants to look at the pictures of their guests in their photo book. You can't present a photo book that only has pictures of the bride and the groom. True. So we get into the guests, take their pictures, you point a camera at someone and they're shying away. One thing is we approach, informing that the pictures we are taking, they're going to appear in the photo book of the client. And people are so happy to even now get very ready and we take their pictures. That alone always sells us each and every weekend. Whenever you point at the camera, sometimes you point at someone and they're okay taking the picture. But whenever we point and someone is not comfortable, we first go and explain. Of course, no one would want to come to your wedding and not want to appear in your pictures. True. But when you don't explain, of course, you don't get such a chance. So that is one that has supported us on getting referrals from the guests. Because one may ask, how will I see you? And say, I can refer you. It's that experience. Then besides that, people approach us when we are working and they want to talk to you. Please, can you take a picture of me? Some photographers always tend to be busy doing other things. When someone comes, it's okay. Just give us 1 second. At least it's always a photographer and a lights assistant. Our focus is now on this person that has requested. We aim so much. Even before we finish what we are doing, we could even ask the client, can you first take the picture of your guest and resume back? Because this might be a little bit faster. True. They say, yes, we take that picture. Only like that experience, it's good for them. It's like, okay, these people, you never ask them and they say no. Then on the other side of the clients, not all businesses go well. Sometimes you onboard a client, you do what you're supposed to do, but the client will come and say, you guys disappointed me at my wedding. Why? Because you've not engaged this client at any point in time. Weddings have a lot of pressure in them because they have different committees. We've had bad experiences with committees when you're taking like pictures in the gardens. They come and they're saying time. One thing before we start any session, we always explain to the client first. 10 months later, 3 years later, would you be happy when you come and you're asking for pictures of your gardens and you can't find even a single good picture because we're rushing, go to the reception? Of course, they will say no. Okay. How much time can you give us in the gardens? We could say 3 hours, but of course the 3 hours couldn't be there. They can't be there. But when someone says, okay, let's use the 10 minutes, we shall use the 10 minutes as provided by the client and we shall time. We respect what they tell us, but we communicate to them. They give us the time they're willing to give us. Because if you don't time, you will take 3 pictures and say, no, time up, we go. We shall time, do the pictures within the 10 minutes and ensure that we achieve as much as possible. So that even after the wedding, a client cannot come and say, how come I don't see a picture of this person? How come I don't see a picture of this person? So we engage the client at any point in time because being photographers, we are working with the client closely from salon. We don't just come and keep taking pictures. Say we are going to take pictures of your outfits, please, we need 3 minutes. Granted, we take. In church, when they're wedding people and maybe the gown is not well organized and whatnot, we always pause a moment, go talk to the matron to support us on that. So that we don't have to explain and say, you see, we're busy doing what? No, we always engage at any point in time. And sometimes things go wrong. We get clients whereby you engage and they are not interested in knowing. They say, I paid you, it's your work.
Yeah,
Please do your business. Do your business.
Yes.
Time for delivery comes in and the hard questions come. How come I did this? How come I did this?
You should have told me.
You should have told. What we do at that point in time, we don't give excuses to the client. We believe it has happened. We've delivered. What can we do so that this client can refer us best? We give an extra. It's okay. We are sorry about that. Of course, every opportunity,
You've taken the lesson.
We've taken the lesson there and then, and we give an extra. Say it's okay. We can build up for that. Can we give you an extra board? In case I'm not impressed, it's okay. We believe you paid a lot of money. Can we refund part of this percentage so that we knock off that? This is something that always puts back the client at a very comfortable position. We say that they came and did the job. This went wrong. They apologized and even gave me part of the money, because we believe if it was coming from the video side, I sit back with my video team, I tell them something didn't go right with the client, and they're going to refund me, they say 300,000 of the money, just to put the client in position of him not saying, I've lost it all.
I like that.
So that engagement, the client guest engagement, is one thing that has enabled us to keep marketing and getting and onboarding as many clients as possible.
If I'm a client and I want to come, hire you guys, I know you do photography, I know you do videography, okay? Is there anything else that you offer as a service that a client can take advantage of, or is it just these two?
Okay, besides doing photography and videography, just like I said, we do training. We do trainings for photographers and videographers. Besides that, most people that we train, some we retain to keep calling them whenever we have work. And we have a segment of studio rentals. So whenever they get their people that they want to take pictures of, we give them the studio. They rent the studio and mainly pay small fees for utilities, the electricity bill and all that. So we do studio rentals for photographers. You can come with your clients, take their pictures, edit their pictures, deliver. Then besides that, we also do equipment hire. The cameras that we use in events, whenever we don't have work, we hire them out photographers. That is also one of the biggest, one of the revenue source. And we've been supported on that by, we have a company called GoFox. Our equipment is it's capital intensive. You can buy a camera after saving for about 8 months. So, but we have a company, we have a shop in town whereby we can access all this equipment locally. So this is a shop called GoFox. So GoFox is being owned by some gentleman called Najib, who supports us so much. We open up an account with him, we keep saving with him, and whenever we raise the money fully, he gives us the equipment. So he normally ships equipment whenever he doesn't have something readily available, and you make the first deposit, he starts the shipping process. By the time you reach 80% of the money, your item has already arrived. In times when you've built up a good relationship with him, sometimes he gives it to you and you keep paying the balance as you still make money from it. So our equipment rental business has been highly supported by GoFox. They supply us most of the equipment. Whenever we have something that gets faulty and we can't replace, at least we are confident that GoFox will give us, or we shall open up an account with them, start saving with them for some time. Whenever we reach some significant amounts, they can supply us some equipment.
So in the beginning, you mentioned that you had a challenge getting the camera. When you saw it, you knew, right? It was all used or whatever. So for the youth who is starting the business now, would it be a challenge for them to get equipment, or is it okay now?
Okay, back then it was a challenge for us to get equipment. One, getting it here was so hard. You saw me how I talked about Maskini, why you would have to order, sit back and wait for the 2 months. But now for someone who is passionate about photography, at least we can happily tell you that you get the equipment locally. And one, it's not about the fear for the prices. Of course, the prices comes in for the latest models and all that. So they have the old models readily available here and at very good prices. So you may not buy a Canon R that goes for 4-5 million. You could go and they have a 6D that goes for 1 million. You could go and get a DJI Pocket 3 camera that goes for maybe say 500,000. A GoPro camera that could go maybe for about 800,000. So they have all the cameras. At least the challenge that we had then was getting the things here. But now with GoFox, for someone who is beginning or someone who is getting into photography, if I would recommend GoFox, at least they would serve you at any budget if you wanted to be okay, if you are in the entry levels into this.
When you look back at your whole, 7-year experience, what would you say has been your most memorable event that you have shot, and also the most challenging one that you have shot as well?
Okay, now when it comes to the memorable, let me start with the memorable.
Yes.
I have 3 events that I can talk about. One was it's a tour company called Heavy Tours. They had people that had booked in to go to Dar es Salaam and Zanzibar, and they happened to onboard me as the photographer. That was one of the most memorable events, whereby they are catering for accommodation. They are not paying you, but they will cater for your accommodation, and they give you a chance to explore as you work for them. So I got a chance to travel with them. We went to Kigali, we went to Dar, proceeded to Zanzibar, taking their pictures and videos and giving them in real time. That was the first time I realized that, okay, this industry can actually take me places and places. The other memorable was a wedding that I did last year in December, on the 21st of December. It was a destination wedding in Naivasha. All expenses fully cleared for by the client with a very good package, where we happened to do a wedding in the national park.
Wow.
In the national park.
Wow.
It was a very good experience, very memorable. We went and spent about a week.
Wow.
So we took some days off in Nairobi. We traveled like 4 days prior to the event, rested in Nairobi, then came back to Naivasha, did the wedding, and returned back to Uganda.
Wow.
Then the other memorable that also came with a challenge was in my beginner days, I got an event after COVID period in Rwanda. So back then, you know how we had so many restrictions of COVID, how you couldn't cross when you don't have that COVID vaccination card.
Yes.
We got an event, traveled with my team, and I was the driver. Given that it was Kigali, I mean,
you can do it.
Drive
Yes.
and come back. So in COVID, vehicles were restricted to carry only 3 people, and it was just the 3 of us. So we went, we crossed the border with the clients, we went and did the wedding, and we had to cross the border by 6 p.m. because cars would stop moving at 7. So we struggled so hard to get back to the border. Remember, I went driving and I came back driving. It was the first experience of me leaving the country before work. We went, did the introduction, crossed back. But it was already nighttime after crossing the border. Like, I feel like I could drive all the way to Kampala. I was lucky. I drove all the way to Mbarara, no police, no roadblocks. Since we were carrying cameras, it gave me an advantage of explaining them, and they could let us through. So it was memorable in such a way that we explored. Went to Rwanda, did the event, and came back. The most challenging bit was driving for over 13 hours. When the 2 gentlemen were all tired, sleeping, I'd get somewhere, get exhausted, sleep like for about 30 minutes, jump out of sleep, proceed. Until I got to Kampala. Then on the part of the challenging event, when I was just getting into photography, my cousin sister booked me for a baby shower. By then I just had a camera and the normal flashlight on the camera. I went to the venue to do the baby shower. I got in. I wasn't yet confident with what I would do. The guests got in, all dressed up in white. The color that I used to fear most while taking pictures was white.
Yes, yes.
Because you take a picture and the only thing they can see is someone's face and the arms and the legs.
Yes,
The rest of the things,
faded, yes.
gone. So getting into the room these people had booked, the room had mirrors on the walls all through. So the room was full of mirrors and they are all dressed in white.
Wow.
And with my skills that had attained up to that point in time,
they were not enough to
overcome that challenge.
Yes.
The first picture I took, it was all flashlight. I took the picture, the flash reflected on the mirror, and it came back into the camera. Now, I had to find ways of taking a picture from an angle where the reflections would be as minimal as possible, which I happened to achieve at some point. I did the baby shower and it got done. When I got home to do the editing, literally, I could fight so hard to look for someone's face and edit it back into the picture because all the pictures were... It was as if I'd been given a job to go and take flashlights for the event. I did the editing, tried to exclude as many pictures as possible. The few that I delivered, the first comment that came in from that group, I almost threw my phone away. You know how someone pays you 150,000, they expect you to do a very fantastic job. You deliver work, they're like, what?
Wow.
If we paid you 150, you need to refund 500,000.
Wow.
It was that bad. I kept on seeing the comments, but I had nothing to do. I reached the point and said, I just give up on photography. I just keep taking my own pictures. It was that bad. That was one of the challenges. Now, the other big challenge is how I opted out to start training. In photography, you can hardly manage a single event as a person.
Of course.
You need to outsource some people from out. Now, the biggest challenge is getting into a field where I'm starting to learn and I'm able to onboard a wedding client. Then I have to go look for videographers and photographers. And of course, they can literally see that you're new in the field. And you tell them, you have to be on the job by 7 a.m. or even by 8. Say, no, I'm going to come at 9. Because the industry is so informal. It took so much time for me to understand how we used to work with the photographers. You give them the time, they're saying, no, I'll come at this time. This one says, no, I'll come at any time. You get a drone pilot, someone come and pilots the drone like for about 2 hours. After that, says, the drone covers the area views. I've done the church and I've gone away. I went to the reception, also covered that and I've gone away. Yet the client has booked you for food. So the communication from what you're convincing the client and to what you're telling the people that you're on board, it was always easier until the working time came and these people start making stories from arriving late, from giving them work and they don't bring back the cards. It was such a hard situation that I decided to say, let me train my people that I can always call on board in case I have work. And so working with other people, it became so challenging because they also had their terms that they would go by.
In the example of the challenge that you faced with the mirrors and the reflections, for now, you mentioned that when a client comes to onboard, it is necessary for the client to go and see the photographer's office, the equipment, and all that stuff, right? For you now, when a client comes to you, do you also go to the venue to avoid mirrors or those challenges?
Now, we've been in the industry. It's now the 8th year into the industry. When you look at the kind of events we do around Kampala, literally, clients use the same venues all the time. So it's hard for someone to come up with a new venue. In instances, when someone comes with a new venue, we have to go and look at the venue, mainly to look at if we can be able to get a power source and if we can be able to handle the numbers that the client is claiming to be having at the event. But besides that, most issues that we used to face in regards to quality was with the equipment that we were using at the time. Technology has evolved. We now have what we call mirrorless cameras. Even if we go to a venue and it's extremely dark, our cameras can work in something they call low light conditions. In a low light condition, I will record you even if you're in the dark, at least it will come out as a monochrome effect. If there is some light and it's a bit minimal, the camera will provide the lighting. In case we are unable to get power for our lights and the video light, still the camera can work with good lighting conditions. In low lighting conditions, as long as the lenses we are using, they have lower apertures. So we solved a lot of that in the equipment that we use. We use mirrorless cameras, and the choice of the lenses that we use lenses that have extremely low apertures. By low aperture, I mean the camera will bring in more light into the image than actually the light does exist.
So low light condition is not a challenge.
It's not.
And these cameras you're mentioning are also cameras that can be found here locally now.
GoFox has all those cameras. He has all those cameras. Because of technology changes, whenever a new camera is released and it's good in the market, of course, it starts to sell out to photographers that are already ready to have it in their stock. So GoFox has all those mirrorless cameras, the Sonys, the Nikon's Z series, and the Canon R series.
Excellent.
All available at GoFox.
You said that at times when you go to the venue because the client is claiming some numbers. When you say claiming, what do you mean by that?
Now, claiming, sometimes when you have a discussion with a client, you ask them, because with our packages, you can't do an event of 300 people with one photo camera and one video camera. You'd literally give a lousy video to a client, which comes back to you as the photographer for not planning well. So when we are having a discussion with the client and we ask them, how many guests do you expect on your event? And they say between 100, 150, of course, that's realistic. Someone can say maybe 400 or maybe 600. When you hear them flipping into those big numbers, be like, okay, we shall come and look at the event. Because when you get to the event 3 days prior, you'll get to see how many tables they have, and you advise ahead of time so that you don't get into the blame games. So for planning purposes, with big events, we always request the client to have at least a minimum of 2 video cameras and 2 photo cameras. So we always engage the client ahead of time. Most clients always listen out. In case a client is hesitant, of course, they will have committed, they'll have started to make the payments. It takes us back to the thing of we don't outsource any equipment. So this is why I normally call the people that have trained to come and support. I would rather have another camera on set. I have one of the people that have trained, so that after the event, I can explain to the client, regardless of this and this and this, I wouldn't work in those conditions. I was able to push in an extra camera, at least do something, and let's just facilitate this someone that tried to do the job. That is where the best emphasis comes in. Of course, the client wouldn't say no, because they literally saw what was on the event.
Where do you see Twine Shots in 5 years' time?
So in 5 years' time, as Twine Shots, currently we've trained over 50 students with several interns. So in 5 years' time, we expect to have trained over 1,000 students. That would mean that we appear in over 1,000 stories, and in return, we shall have created over 1,000 job opportunities plus. We shall have impacted on over 1,000 families in return, because this is a business that many people are being fed from.
True.
Then besides that, in 5 years' time, we are looking at diversity in the field. Photography is a male-dominated industry. It's a male-dominated industry. Besides that, when you move to other regions, photography has not grown as it has grown in Kampala. So on the side of diversity, we are looking at having as many people as possible from the different regions. Before I cross over on the side of gender, we want to have as many people as possible from all over the spaces. We've had chance to train someone from Congo.
Wow.
someone from Congo, whenever we have Kenyan clients, he supports us on easing the communication because he can speak Kiswahili, he can speak French. We've trained people from the East, but we've not had some people from the North. So besides, as we receive interns, we are looking so much into diversity so that we can have people from as many regions as possible. And in return, it helps us whenever we get a job in Gulu. I would rather call on someone that we did train who comes from Gulu to come and assist us as support staff. And then, besides that, on the side of diversity, when it comes to gender, ladies are so creative lately, all over social media, recording those short videos, having them on their Snapchat. This is something that would pay you a lot of money because we've had so many companies employ ladies as their content creators.
True.
We also have demands from people that would want entry-level staff that can support them on social media. So we are looking at training ladies as long as they can buy their own uniforms. So in the next 5 years, if we've trained over 200 ladies, we would have achieved. Because the more you train, the more you have the ladies on board. And also having these ladies on board whenever we are out in the field working, it impacts us.
Yes.
Because there are spaces like where the bride is dressing up from.
True.
When you see men peeping in and they are trying to fidget that you get out so fast. To us, we only send in the ladies to do the work there. And it's efficient for us.
Yes,
She'll keep that, she'll do whatever is required to do, and you'll keep out doing the other things.
I like that.
And lastly, in 5 years, if in any wedding meeting, in any boardroom meeting, if photography and videography comes up and Twine Shots appears first in the room, I believe we shall have gotten there.
Amen. Gilbert, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show. I have learned a lot about photography. Some of the things I didn't know were actually possible. I was very intrigued by the software that you mentioned and the fact that these things are available here locally. So I definitely want to thank you for coming on the show and talking about this. We wish you success. We wish you continued growth and in everything that you do and achieve.
Thank you so much.